There are some stories that linger in your mind long after they're over. The kind that make you check your locks, glance over your shoulder, and wonder what you'd do if it happened to you. Tonight's stories are one of those. So dim the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself, because this nightmare begins now. This story was shared on our /horror stories by Reddit user TopDiscipline3273. It's titled, "I told my girlfriend I don't want to eat meat anymore. Now she's trying to kill me. Hey, Chris here. I have a massive issue that I need help with. Has anyone ever experienced this? There's something wrong with my girlfriend. I think she wants to kill me, but I'm not sure. She's completely changed her personality. And I think it all happened when I said something about my diet. I really can't believe it myself yet. It can't be, can it? The only thing that I said was that I wasn't going to eat meat, and over the last few weeks, she's completely flipped. It's like she's a different person. Let me start from the beginning. So, one day we were just having dinner. Ordinary stuff. I've been dating my girlfriend for 5 years. She's shy, she's soft, and she was the person I saw myself spending the rest of my life with. Emphasis on saw. I'm not so sure anymore. Do you know how pigs get killed? I've been watching some videos on YouTube about food processing and how animals are kept on farms. And it sickened me. Now, I'm not a squeamish person, but the sight of all that blood, it's too much. So, I decided to try cutting meat from my diet. Just for a bit. Try it out. That's what I told my girlfriend that night at dinner. We were at a restaurant, and I told her I was considering going vegan. Vegan, she said. Yeah, but I love meat. Okay. I was a bit perplexed at the time. I told her she doesn't have to be part of it. We do make our meals together, but we can just cook separately. I didn't think about it at all, but then a week later she did something weird. She got home from the supermarket with tons and tons of grocery bags. I asked her what they were, and she just plopped the most insane amount of food I've ever seen onto our kitchen counter. There was like 50 pounds of it. It was all meat. What the fuck is this? I asked her. She just looked at me like I had asked the dumbest question on earth. It's food, she replied. I'm not sure if this is some sick joke over my going vegan choice, or if she now finally feels free to eat how she always wanted. But it was really odd, and it was the start of our relationship getting sour. That was just the beginning. Every single meal. Every single goddamn meal. Every time, every day, it was just meat. Every day, she would just eat meat. Hamburgers for lunch, steaks for dinner. Tenderloins for breakfast, a bit of liver for a late-night snack. When we ate together, I'd offer her some of my food. I've tried giving her some greens, mashed potatoes, some cauliflower. Hell, even French fries. She rejected it all. She started eating her meals with side dishes as any normal person would. But as the week went by, she ate fewer and fewer sides. Every meal was just meat. A huge steak, some ribs, you name it. Sometimes she wouldn't even season it. She's never been the best cook, but she's not that bad. Lately she'd just put a slab of meat on a pan and cook it. Then she'd eat it. No garnish, no seasoning, nothing. She would just look at me and smile while she did it. Creeps me the fuck out. Sometimes she sends me texts with pictures of what she had for lunch at work. Typical girlfriend stuff. It's always a picture of her eating a massive slab of meat with a text that reads, "I love you, Chris. Look what I had today." It gets harder to say, "I love you" back. I just ask her to not send me food pics. The other day we were going to watch a movie in the living room. I got some popcorn and chips and sat down. Typical movie night, right? As soon as I sat down, I offered her some. She looked at me with disgust. I noticed she was already eating something from a bowl. Mincemeat? Imagine mincemeat, but in clumps and badly cooked. like half raw. That's what she was fucking eating. The smell? I just couldn't take it. I walked away. This obsession of hers with meat is ruining our relationship. I searched online and found something called a carnivore diet. It is as dumb as it sounds. You just eat meat. All the time. I thought I understood what was going on. That was clearly what she was doing. I guess I shouldn't talk. I decided to go off meat, so I guess she can decide to just go all in on meat. But Jesus Christ, some moderation maybe? I was considering just posting this on some diet forums, but things have escalated. I remember last week before things went completely crazy. It was 2 a.m. I had to get up to go to the toilet. I noticed she wasn't in bed yet. Weird, I thought. I went to the toilet and passed through the kitchen. That's when I saw her. She was standing in front of the fridge. All I saw was the little light of the fridge illuminating her face. Jesus Christ. She was eating raw meat, straight from the freezer, just gnawing on whatever she could grab. I think there was nothing unfrozen for her to eat, so she just settled for frozen, raw meat. I still remember her teeth scraping against the frozen slab of steak, trying to rip chunks off it. I never wanted to run away as fast as I did there. She saw me, turned to me. "Want some?" she said. God. I slept in my car that night. I was going to try to get her help the next morning. She asked me the next day why I didn't go to bed. I came up with some bullshit excuse that I can't remember. I can't live like this anymore. She's a normal person most of the day. But every meal, every time we eat together, it's like she's a different person. Like an animal. My fridge is a disgusting mess. It used to have everything. Organized dairy products and greens on one side. Juices, water bottles, and sauces on the other. Pretty standard stuff. Now it's a mess of meat and carcasses. There's so much blood everywhere. It's revolting. This woman, I wanted to marry her. But now I think I might have to leave her. She's clearly going insane. I called up her parents. Tried to get some answers. They didn't tell me anything. Said they never heard of any meat obsession and that I should talk to a psychiatrist. Useless. I've tried talking to her. I yelled, I pleaded, I begged. It doesn't seem to matter. She either ignores me or pretends nothing's wrong. I keep asking her why she keeps doing this. Why does she eat like this? She simply replied, "It's what I like, silly." I don't know this woman anymore. A few days ago, something else happened. Something that changed my perspective on things. It doesn't matter that I set up a psychiatrist appointment for her. It's too much. 3 days ago, I was sleeping in bed. It's rare these days. I either sleep on the couch or in the car, but I decided to sleep next to her. I guess a part of me doesn't want to give up. When I woke up, she was standing on top of me, smiling. She has a pretty smile. She's always had a pretty smile. It's one of the reasons I fell in love with her. Her cute face, her pearly white teeth. I never expected to see them red. There was blood on her mouth, small specks of dried red all over it, with something else in the corners of her mouth. She looked like she was pointing at something. She was pointing down at me. There were 5 dead birds on top of me, like dead small birds, all mangled up and half bitten. I freaked the fuck out. I jumped out of bed quickly. The mess went everywhere. I immediately confronted her about whatever the fuck that was. You know what she said to me? "I brought you breakfast." She's completely losing it. I don't think a shrink is enough. Something in her broke. I can't take it anymore. I told her I was fucking leaving. Her parents can take care of her. This is too much. She doesn't listen. She just looks at me. With her eyes. Those eyes. They're so big now. So sharp. The way she looks at me, it's like she looks past me. It's weird, I can't explain it. Over the next few days, it's been nothing but fights. She still eats like some sort of wild animal, and I keep my distance from her. I was going to end it all soon. I was going to take her out somewhere public and say it's over between us. She started doing something new over the last few days. She bites me. Like, playfully bites me. She blocks me from moving around the house like she's playing. I push her away, tell her to get the fuck away from me. She just laughs. I see her standing still sometimes, looking at me, drooling. I hate her. I'm scared of her. Yesterday was the breaking point. There's a reason I explained everything before getting to this point. Something happened yesterday. Something that made me type this online, asking for help. I was going to break up with her yesterday. We went to the park. Nice, open, and public. I didn't want her to cause a scene. I certainly wasn't going to cause one. I had enough drama for a lifetime. I quickly told her that I think we should break up. That there are too many irreconcilable differences between us. That I still love her, but I can't be with her anymore. She just nodded and said, Sure. When's lunch? I just don't care anymore. She's a fucking lunatic. I told her goodbye, Mary, and started walking away. There were some people doing a barbecue near the park. It smelled good. I looked at her one last time before heading towards the car and saw her slowly inching her way towards the barbecue. I'm a really shy person, so it was insanely embarrassing to be seen with someone doing that. I know what she was trying to do. She may be sick, but I'm still accompanying her. I went back to get her. I was just going to drop her at her parents' and go home to pack my shit and leave. I had to drag her away from the cooked meat, kicking and screaming. No, I want to eat, she yelled. She was obsessed with it. We finally got to the car before she bit me hard. I fucking screamed. It was enough to draw blood. She just looked at me with this look, like she was challenging me. She licked the blood from her lips and stood quietly. We just stood silently for what felt like forever. She was just looking at me, like she was contemplating something. I don't understand what I witnessed that day. There was like this deer. A small deer was near the trees in the park. I didn't even notice it, but she did. I don't really comprehend what happened afterwards. My girlfriend started running towards the deer, like full-on sprint. I was so fucking confused that I just stood still, looking at her. She was so fast. She started running like an animal, like on all fours, like some fucking creature. Her legs, her arms. Oh God, I don't want to think about it again. She was so fucking fast. How was she so fucking fast? I ran. I got in my car and left. I left her there in the park. I drove a few miles back home and I started packing. I'm almost done. I'm leaving. I don't know what she did to that deer. I don't even know if she managed to catch it. But it's been 5 hours. I gathered my stuff in the house and I'm getting in the car to leave. I just wanted to vent, I guess. Or maybe warn people there's some woman out there who used to be my girlfriend running like an animal. Like some predator chasing a meal. It fucking terrifies me. Just the thought of her sprinting at full force towards someone. Legs twisting against the ground for leverage. Arms moving so rapidly she could barely be described as human anymore. What the fuck happened to her? Fuck. Maybe I should just hurry up and go. Go anywhere. She knows where I live. I can't bear the thought of her sprinting from the park to me. Our next story comes from our /NaSleep, posted by Reddit user blankrobbie99. The title is, I woke up to a man dancing in my backyard. I found myself awake way later than I should have been on a Wednesday night, but this was normal for me. I have always had really bad paranoia, ever since I was a kid. Even as an adult, it never went away. It would often come in waves. Sometimes it would hardly be there. Other times it was very much present. My paranoia would often affect my ability to sleep, and I would stay up way past when I was supposed to go to bed, and tonight was no exception. I was sitting on my bed in the dark listening to every noise I could hear in complete silence. It was bad tonight. I went to college and scored an amazing job that paid me wonderfully, but I was so stuck on studying and doing my work that I've never made any friends or met any girls. It never bothered me. I like being alone, but sometimes I wished I had someone else around, so I was less afraid. I live alone in a 2-story house, and my room was on the 2nd story, so any sound would alert me and leave me unnerved. Tonight, I felt terrified, and I had no idea why. It was fear of the unknown. I looked over at the time, 2 in the morning. I sighed and cautiously started to lay down, being as quiet as I could while doing so. If I made too much noise, it would suppress the sound of something in my house or someone outside. I laid my head on my pillow and managed to calm my state of mind enough to start dozing off, still slightly paranoid. As I was just on the verge of sleep, I heard something. Crunch. I shot up, looking towards where I heard the noise. I was immediately set on alert since I was already on edge to begin with. The noise was coming from somewhere in the loft area, right next to my room. I debated for a moment until I reluctantly decided to get up and quietly tiptoe to the loft, but I didn't see anything in there. Then I heard it again. Crunch. Being right at the window, I could unmistakably determine what it was. It was leaves crunching in my backyard. I had the window open so I would be able to hear any sound outside. The loft had a window showing a clear view of my backyard. Whatever was outside was making zero attempt at being quiet since I could hear it a story up. Was someone out there? Was it just an animal? I was too nervous to look. As I was trying to convince myself it was just a squirrel or a deer, I heard it for a 3rd time. Snap, crunch. It was much louder this time, and I was certain it wasn't an animal anymore. I heard the snap of a stick being broken in half, and undeniably the sound of footsteps. Even where I was standing, far from the window, I could see a faint moving shadow in the grass. The shadow of a moving man. I slowly walked over to the window. The sounds not stopping, I saw the source of the noise. As terrified as I was, what I saw in my backyard confused me more than it scared me for a brief few seconds. I saw a hooded man, dancing like a ballerina in the dark with his back facing me. He was being graceful with his steps, and with the way he was moving, he looked like he had long mastered what he was doing. He was holding a stick in his right hand, moving it with his dance like it was a magic wand, walking while dancing all throughout my backyard, almost like a fairy. I stood there at the window, just watching, completely vexed at what I was witnessing. Was this man on drugs? Was he drunk? All of these questions were rapidly overwhelming my mind, and it was starting to put me in a panicked state. When you're put in an unexpected situation, you often don't think logically, so my first thought was to shut the window. I snapped out of my trance and gripped the top of the window frame. While panicking, I accidentally slammed it shut in the process while backing away. The noise was loud and I heard it echo into the backyard for several seconds, even with the window shut. I was certain he had heard it. I cautiously peeked outside and saw my fears were confirmed. He was now standing completely still, paused in his dance as if time had been frozen on him. Both of his arms were up above his head, and he was standing on one foot, the other foot resting on his leg, still with his back facing me. I ducked down and immediately regretted closing the window. Now I wouldn't be able to hear him moving, and he knew I was here. I quickly ran to my room to grab my phone and dialed the police. As I heard the line ringing, I walked back into the loft, crawling so he wouldn't see me through the window. 911, what's your emergency? Hello? There's a man in my backyard dash. Just as I was about to tell the operator what was going on, I took a look outside and suddenly stumbled over my words. He was now facing me, looking up at me much closer than I would have liked. He had both of his hands in his pockets, and he was frowning like a cartoon character. Everything about him was human except for his eyes. They were just slightly too large to resemble a normal pair of eyes, and he had no pupils. We both stood completely still, just staring at each other until the voice of the operator snapped me back to reality, but I didn't look away. "Hello? Sir, are you there? Did you just say there is a man in your backyard?" "Why, yes. He's standing outside looking up at me right now." I could hear the fear in my voice. "What does the man look like?" the operator asked. He's wearing a hoodie and he's tall." "I don't know. I can't tell. It's too dark," I said. I told the operator where I lived, and with that, I was alone again. As soon as I hung up the phone, the man's frown slowly disappeared and he began dancing towards the back door. I instantly caught on to what he was doing, and I ran as fast as I could over to the door, and for a moment, I was relieved. It was locked, so he couldn't get in. Or so I thought. I jumped out of my skin as I heard a loud pounding noise on the door. The door violently shook in its frame, and I ran back upstairs. I had to hide, or try to protect myself somehow. I saw a closet and bolted towards it. Before I could shut it, I saw the door being beaten down, and for a moment saw the man dancing inside, an angry look on his face. It was quiet now, the only noise being the man dancing around the house. He was whispering my name, peeping around different corners. I'm 26 years old, and I've never been this terrified in my life. Nothing has even come close. The only thing I could do in that closet was hope he wouldn't find me before the cops came. I felt helpless. This man was strong enough to break down my door with his bare hands, so I had no idea what he was capable of. All I could do was hide. I heard the stairs creak, and I knew he was getting closer, his whispers becoming more and more audible as he walked. He walked straight to the closet I was hiding behind and stopped right in front of it. He stopped whispering. He knew I was in here. His shadow was barely noticeable from under the door. I held my breath and was on the verge of tears. I had no idea what this man was going to do to me. For a few moments, all was quiet, the only noise in the house being the man's breathing from the other side of the door. He was taking deep, measured breaths and sounded like he was gasping for air. Then I heard him walk in a different direction. I was relieved for a short second until I saw the door being violently slammed down, and I watched as it fell onto the floor in front of me, but I didn't see him anywhere. I slowly stepped out and looked around frantically, but found no one. I couldn't hear him or see him anywhere, and I thought he was gone. But this thought quickly diminished when I saw a big shadow walk past my living room window downstairs. He was outside again, but how? He was just in front of me at the closet, and he broke down the door, and now he was back outside. This fact immediately made me think this man was not human, but I was afraid to accept it. In any other scenario, I would have thought considering this man to be some supernatural being would be madness, but somehow I knew I didn't need to think twice about it. I didn't believe in stuff like this, but here I was being faced with it. I saw another shadow moving up my loft window, then one downstairs, then one at my bedroom. Suddenly the entire house was shaking, and I could hear footsteps on every inch of the house. The sound was piercing my ears, and I covered them as hard as I could. Just as I did, I began to hear voices. Voices speaking to me in my mind, voices of people I once knew. My late grandfather, my mother, my entire family speaking in my head, telling me I was a failure, telling me to give up. They were telling me things I didn't want to know, things nobody would ever want to know. My entire family hated me. I was the burden of the family. I would die alone. I would never find a partner or any friends. My father tried to kill me when I was a baby. My sister died when I was young, and my mother blamed me for it. As these statements were enveloping my mind, I saw visions. I saw myself in my room hung on a noose, dead. I saw my mother get into a car accident and watched the light fade from her eyes. I saw my sister being murdered by one of my old childhood friends I haven't spoken to in years. I saw the hooded man dragging my body into an endlessly dark cave far into the woods, a smile on his face. I thought it wouldn't end, but eventually it did. All in a quick second. I slowly opened my eyes and saw the flashing of red and blue lights reflecting on my wall from outside. My house was just as quiet as it normally was. I was on the floor curled into a ball, crying. I explained to the police what happened, leaving out the details that would have them question my sanity. The man was gone, and I never saw him again. The police left, and I was alone in my house again, the visions and thoughts still fresh on my mind. Whatever that man was, he didn't need to physically hurt me to leave me with permanent damage. I don't know if the things I was shown and told were true, but all I can do now is hope I can forget about it. But I doubt I'll be able to. My house was covered in footprints and handprints. I hired someone to remove them, but he couldn't. They are forever stained into my house. Sometimes I wonder if I had just let him do his thing in my backyard and didn't bother him, if he would have done everything he had done. So many things still don't make sense to me, but for now I think I know enough. I don't want any of my questions to be answered anyway. Some things we don't need to know. This story was posted on our /scary stories by Reddit user Emergency Worker 8409. It's titled, My First Time Using a Ouija Board, True Story. I've been fascinated by ghosts and the paranormal for as long as I can remember. I'm 22 now, and despite watching countless videos and reading stories over the years, I'd always assumed Ouija boards didn't actually work. I thought most of what you see online was either fake or exaggerated for views. One day, my fiancée and I were sitting around with nothing to do, and I randomly suggested trying a Ouija board. She told me she'd used one when she was younger and claimed it had actually worked. I was skeptical and honestly thought she was just trying to wind me up. Since we didn't have a real Ouija board, we printed one out, taped it to a cardboard box, and even made a cardboard planchette using a template we found online. My fiancée was adamant that we weren't going to use it at her grandparents' house, where she lives. She said she didn't want to risk attracting anything to the house. I remember smirking because I still didn't believe any of it was real. Instead, we decided to drive to an old monastery in her town. The monastery dates back to the 12th century and was even bombed during the war, so we thought it would be an interesting place to try. We spent around 20 to 30 minutes attempting to contact a spirit, but absolutely nothing happened. Although I'd expected that outcome, I have to admit I was a little disappointed because part of me really wanted to experience something. We eventually gave up and went for a drive. As we were driving through the countryside, I spotted a small church with a graveyard in the middle of nowhere and suggested we give it one final try. I parked just outside the graveyard, and we set the board up again. For the first 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then, without warning, the planchette slowly began to move. My first thought was that my fiancée was pushing it to scare me. I asked her several times if she was moving it, and every time she insisted she wasn't. I still wasn't convinced, but I started paying close attention to her finger and noticed it was barely touching the planchette. That's when I started feeling genuinely unsettled. We began asking simple questions. Is there a spirit here that would like to speak to us? The planchette slowly moved to yes. We asked for the spirit's name, but it drifted between random letters that didn't spell anything. We tried asking again, and the same thing happened. Next, we asked if the spirit was a boy. It moved to yes. We asked how old he was. The planchette moved to the number 1, then moved above it before returning to 1 again. We asked, "Are you 11 years old?" It slowly moved to yes. Then I asked what, looking back, was probably a stupid question. How did you die? The planchette slowly spelled out. F-I-R-E. At this point, I was seriously creeped out. We tried several more times to get the boy's name, but it continued moving to random letters that made no sense. Eventually, I asked, "Do you not want us to know your name?" It moved to yes. After that, the planchette didn't move again, despite us trying for another 5 or 10 minutes. Even then, I was determined to find a logical explanation. I got out of the car and started walking through the graveyard to see if I could find the grave of an 11-year-old boy. My fiancée thought it was a bit disrespectful, so instead she searched online to see if there was a record of the people buried there. There was, and among the records was an 11-year-old boy. I still tried to convince myself it was just an incredible coincidence. Then, as we got back into the car, I started feeling strange. The only way I can describe it is that I felt completely zoned out. I wasn't scared exactly, I just felt oddly disconnected. Something then crossed my mind. I asked my fiancée to search for the boy's name along with the town where he died. She gasped. She turned her phone towards me, showing me an old newspaper article. According to the article, in 1947, 2 boys had been playing with matches. One of them threw a lit match into the petrol tank of an abandoned car, not realizing there was still petrol inside. The car ignited, and both boys suffered severe burns. Tragically, they died the following morning. I was speechless. At that moment, I knew my fiancée couldn't have been playing a prank on me. I was the one driving around. I was the one who randomly spotted the church, and I was the one who suggested stopping there. She didn't even know the graveyard existed, let alone the story of one of the children buried there. We drove home almost entirely in silence, both trying to process what had just happened. To this day, I still don't know what to make of it. I'm not saying everyone has to believe in Ouija boards or the paranormal. There may well be another explanation that I can't account for. But after that night, I can honestly say I'm no longer as skeptical as I once was. Whether it was coincidence, psychology, or something none of us can explain, it's an experience I'll never forget. Our next story comes from our /NaSleep, posted by Reddit user Shameless Detective. The title is, "My daughter's imaginary friend isn't imaginary. He's teaching her how to draw, and I think he's finishing his masterpiece. I am not holding a pen. I don't even have fingers anymore, just smudges of charcoal where my hands used to be. I am writing this by becoming the ink. The sketchbook has pinned me to the desk, and it is pulling the remaining fragments of my consciousness out of my fading body. I am bleeding my final thoughts into the fibers of this paper, staining the page with my own terror. If you find this post, please listen to me. Don't look for this house. If you see the listing, keep scrolling. You don't want to know what it feels like to be drawn. I've always believed that houses have memories. I thought it was just a poetic way to describe creaky floorboards and drafty hallways. I was wrong. Houses don't just have memories, they have appetites. And the one we bought, this sprawling, Victorian skeleton of a fixer-upper, was absolutely starving. When we moved here, Lily was 7. She was everything to me. After the divorce, it was just us against the world. She was bright, loud, and full of that chaotic, unfiltered energy that made me feel like I was finally doing something right as a mother. She used to squeeze my hands so tight when she was scared of the dark, and her laugh, her laugh was like a light switch in a dim room. Within 2 weeks of moving in, that light began to flicker. She became quiet, not just reserved, but hollowed out. She stopped playing with her dolls. She stopped asking for bedtime stories. She started spending hours in her room, hunched over her desk, working on a massive, leather-bound sketchbook she found in the attic. When I asked her what she was doing, she'd just point to the corner of the room. "Mr. Tall is helping me," she'd whisper, her voice devoid of any childhood lilt. "He says the house is unfinished. He's teaching me how to draw the veins." I brushed it off. Every parent encounters an imaginary friend phase. But Mr. Tall wasn't like the harmless, invisible pals of her friends. He didn't encourage her to play tea party. He encouraged her to draft. For weeks, she'd wake up with dark circles under her eyes, her skin pale and waxy. I grew desperate to understand what was taking her focus. One afternoon, I saw her scribbling with frantic, jagged movements. I moved toward the desk, reaching for the sketchbook, hoping to see a picture of a flower or a house. Lily slammed the book shut with a strength that shouldn't have been possible for a 7-year-old. Her eyes weren't just wide, they were terrified, darting to the empty corner behind me. "No, Mom," she snapped, pressing her thin body against the desk. "You can't see it yet." Mr. Tall said no. "It's a surprise." I froze. The room felt suddenly, impossibly cold. I stared at the empty space she was looking at. There was nothing there, just a patch of peeling wallpaper, yet I felt an intense, suffocating pressure, as if someone were standing inches away, glaring at me with immense, silent disapproval. The air grew stagnant, tasting faintly of cedar dust and wet graphite. I didn't see him. I didn't hear a word. But the sheer weight of a presence made the hair on my arms stand up. I retreated, leaving her to her surprise. That night, after I finally got Lily to bed after she fell into that heavy, motionless sleep that looked more like a coma than rest, I crept into her room. The sketchbook was waiting, splayed open on her desk, the charcoal smudged from hours of fervent, obsessive work. I flipped it open. My stomach dropped through the floor. It wasn't a child's drawing. It was a technical schematic of our living room. It was drafted with the precision of a master architect. Every light switch, every baseboard, every structural beam was plotted with chilling, mathematical accuracy. I turned the page. The kitchen, the plumbing, the wiring behind the drywall, the precise location of a rotting joist I hadn't yet discovered. It was as if the book were an X-ray of the house, showing what lay beneath the plaster. I flipped to the back. There, rendered in oppressive, dark ink, was the floor plan of the upstairs hallway. And in the center of the drawing, a large, jagged X marked the spot. I looked down. I was standing in that exact spot, right outside her door. Then, the air in the room shattered. It wasn't a sound. It was the feeling of the temperature plunging into the negatives. I looked back at the paper. The ink didn't just bubble, it began to assemble. A figure began to sketch itself into existence on the page, tall, spindly, with limbs that defied human geometry. As the ink dried, the figure didn't just stay on the page. It bled upward, unfolding into the three-dimensional space of the hallway. I felt a cold, jagged shadow fall over me. I couldn't move. I turned my eyes, just my eyes, and saw him. He was standing directly behind me, towering toward the ceiling, his long, gray fingers twitching. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. He just stared at the doorway of Lily's room with an intensity that felt like a physical blow. The door creaked open. Lily stood there. She wasn't tired. She was smiling. It was a wide, unnatural grin that looked painful on her small face. When she saw me, she didn't show concern. She laughed, a bright, tinkling sound that should have been sweet but felt like glass shattering in my ears. She walked past me, ignoring my silent, paralyzed plea. She went straight to the desk. Mr. Tall leaned down, his elongated, charcoal-smudged hand resting heavily on her shoulder. He didn't look at me. He stared at the blank page, his chest vibrating with a silent, jagged excitement. He pointed to the pencil. Lily picked it up. She looked at me, her eyes devoid of anything resembling the daughter I knew, and she started to draw. She was drawing me. Every stroke she made on the paper, I felt in my own body. She drew a line across the page where my waist was, and I felt my spine snap, my torso flattening against the wall. She laughed again, a breathless, excited giggle, and shaded the area where my eyes were. My vision went dark, narrowing down to two small, pigment-filled dots. She was so willing. She was so precise. Mr. Tall leaned over her, his face inches from hers, watching every movement of the pencil with a hunger that made the walls of the house groan in unison. He was finally getting what he wanted, a new masterpiece. I am not holding a pen. I don't even have fingers anymore, just smudges of charcoal where my hands used to be. The sketchbook has pinned me to the desk, and it is pulling the remaining fragments of my consciousness out of my fading body. I am bleeding my final thoughts into the fibers of this paper, staining the page with my own terror. The book is forcing me to document my own erasure. It requires a witness to the transition. Lily is still drawing, her movements fast and joyous. She's shading the parts of me that aren't finished yet. I can feel the lead tip pressing into my skin, carving the lines of my face into the white expanse. I'm almost entirely two-dimensional now. My arms are just lines on a page. My eyes are just dots of pigment. Mr. Tall is standing over us, his chest vibrating with that silent, jagged excitement. He isn't saying a word, but his presence is a scream in my mind. He's watching Lily's hand, and every time she lifts the pencil, I feel a piece of my reality tear away. He is reaching out to close the book. When he does, I won't be in the hallway anymore. I'll be on the wall, trapped in the sketch, waiting for the next owner to peel back the paper and find me. Please, don't look. If you see the marks, run. You don't want to know what it feels like to be drawn. The pencil is lifting. She's shading my mouth. The darkness is spreading. Our next story comes from our /NaSleep, posted by Reddit user Funerals. The title is, "My son kept drawing tomorrow." I have hundreds of drawings in a cardboard box beside my desk. I started numbering them after the first month. I thought it might help me find a pattern. And, well, I didn't. All of the drawings are in crayon. Every single one of them is dated the day before whatever they're showing happens. My son has never drawn yesterday. 2 months ago, I thought I'd finally started putting our lives back together. Toby had made a friend named Eli. And if you happen to read a post I made here a while back, you'll know I nearly destroyed the best thing that happened to him. Ever since my wife, Renee, died, I'd become so convinced something terrible was happening that I never stopped to consider how much damage I was doing in the name of protecting him. I apologized, and Eli's parents forgave me, and Toby did too, eventually. Then Toby started drawing. He'd always doodled here and there, even before Renee died, but after everything with Eli, drawing became an obsession. Every afternoon after school, he'd disappear into his room with a box of crayons and emerge an hour later with another picture. At first, I thought it was just another way he was grieving. But weeks passed, and he never stopped drawing. The first picture wasn't strange by any means. It was just a golden retriever wearing one of those white plastic cones from the vet. Toby left it on the kitchen table before school. I smiled, stuck it to the refrigerator with a magnet, and went to work. That next afternoon, the drawing of the dog with the cone made sense. I was pulling the truck up into the driveway when I saw my neighbor, Mrs. Cabrera, walking her golden retriever. The dog was wearing a fresh cone. "Rough day," I called out, nodding to the dog. "He got into some briars at the park yesterday," she sighed. "The vet put the cone on this morning to keep him from licking the stitches." I watched them walk away. Toby had drawn that. He'd drawn Mrs. Cabrera's dog, even the little patch over its left eye. I went inside, and Toby was sitting at the kitchen table with a blue crayon, moving it in circles. "Hey, Tobes," I said. "I guess Mrs. Cabrera's dog is wearing a cone now." "Yeah." Blue crayon. Circle. 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 "That's why I drew him yesterday." I laughed, a little stunned. "What do you mean, bub?" Toby finally looked up from his drawing. He frowned, as if I'd just asked him why the sky was blue. He was wearing it. On the paper. I didn't push him on it, but I started keeping his drawings in a cardboard box, numbering them as they came. Drawing number 8, the garage. It showed me sitting on the floor of our garage, head in my hands, crying. That next morning, my father passed away in his sleep. I spent 2 hours sitting on my garage floor because I couldn't contain myself. Drawing number 17, the yellow bus. Toby drew a sideways bus and a slate-colored sky with thick, slanted lines for rain. The next morning, the school bus hydroplaned on the bypass. No one was hurt, but the kids were stuck in the rain for over 3 hours while they waited for a tow. Drawing number 34, the sling. It was a simple stick figure of his teacher, Mrs. Sellers, with a white triangle over her arm. The next day, she tripped on a trapper-keeper in the hallway and broke her collarbone. She was doctor-ordered to wear a sling for 6 weeks. I'm a practical man. If a car is totaled, the passenger is usually hurt cause and effect. But Toby was giving me the effect before the cause. The escalation was slow and honestly, almost manageable, until it stopped. The next week, I came home and found Toby sitting at the kitchen table. His backpack was propped up by the couch, and his box of 64 crayons was open, but his sketchbook was blank. He was staring at the white page, hands gripped together in his lap. "You don't want to draw today, bub?" I asked. "I can't," he whispered. "Why not?" "No ideas." Toby looked at me, with tears starting to form in his eyes. "I don't want tomorrow to come," he said. For the next 24 hours, I barely sat down. I even called out from my shift. I checked the gas lines and locked every window in the house. I spent the entire day waiting for something extreme, a shooting, a tornado, or some localized collapse. But nothing happened. The sun set and the sun rose. The day was normal. I figured the gift, or the curse, or whatever the fuck it was, had finally burned itself out. But that night, as I was tucking him in, Toby looked at me from under his blankets and asked a question that made the hair on my arm stand up. "Daddy, can tomorrow be today instead?" "Go to sleep, Tobes," I said. I didn't know what else to say. I woke at 3 a.m. to a familiar sound, but it was different this time. It was a frantic scritch. I walked into his room. The floor was covered in drawings. There must have been hundreds of them. Toby was on his knees in the center of the room, surrounded by a sea of rainbow wax shavings. He was coloring so hard that the crayons were snapping in his fingers, but he didn't stop. He just grabbed another piece and kept going. "Hey, bub, what are you doing?" I asked. He didn't look up. His hands were stained a dozen different colors, his fingernails caked with wax. "I'm trying to make it different," he said. I wasn't sure what to do, so I carried him back to bed. But I found the one he'd hidden the next afternoon. I was cleaning Renee's side of the room when I noticed a piece of paper tucked under the leg of her nightstand. I pulled it out. It was dated for tomorrow. It showed our kitchen in the morning light. There was one chair at the table. A single coffee mug sat on the counter, and the front door stood wide open. Outside, a man who looked like me was running. I tore the paper into pieces, and I took them to the sink, running the garbage disposal until the sound of grinding paper stopped. I went to the fireplace and burned the scraps of his sketchbook. I threw the box of crayons in the trash bin. I thought if I could destroy it, I could change it. The next morning, I woke up to a quiet house. I walked into Toby's room. The bed was made. His phone was still plugged in. His shoes were by the door. Toby was gone. I ran downstairs as fast as I could, and when I got to the kitchen, it looked the same. One chair, one coffee cup. The door was wide open. I ran out. The police did a survey of the neighborhood. They checked the quarry. They checked the woods. They interviewed Eli and his parents, who swore Toby never came over. There were no signs of a struggle or forced entry, just a 12-year-old boy who had seemingly walked out of existence. Weeks passed. I kept Toby's room exactly the way it was when he disappeared. I went back to work because the sound of sirens was the only thing loud enough to drown out the sounds of silence. I was cleaning out the office today when I saw the cardboard box. The drawings. I sat on the floor and opened the lid. I started flipping through them all, looking for number 1. I reached the bottom of the stack, and what I pulled out made me freeze. There was one more drawing. The drawing showed a tired old man sitting on a hardwood floor beside a cardboard box. He was holding a piece of paper. He looked exactly as I did. I turned the page over. The drawing was labeled, but it was a word this time, not a date. Written in my son's handwriting, and it was written, today. And that's where tonight's stories comes to an end. Whether you believe it was real or just another terrifying tale, I'll leave that up to you. But if you were in that situation, what do you think you would have done differently? If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more chilling tales like this, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new nightmare. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments. What was the creepiest part of this story? I read as many of your comments as I can, and your suggestions often inspire future videos. Until next time, keep the lights on, trust your instincts, and remember, some stories end when they're told. Others stay with you long after the video is over. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next nightmare.